here on YouTube. And what a bright day it is. Sun is shining, people are drilling next door, and there is an array of shit going on today. Um, so how are we doing? How are people? Before we start, hit the like and subscribe, and hit the notification bells. Drop comments on what we're talking about today. So today I want to talk about Lucas Bergvall handing in a transfer request at Tottenham. And one of the things I want to talk about while we're here about him is the fact that he has given in a transfer request to the club based upon playing time within the first team. Now, obviously, as we know, Spurs are linked with a host of top clubs and transfers of players coming in. People like Sandro Tonali, Fernandez, people like that coming into the team, and there's going to be limited spaces. Yeah, I mean, look, I fully expect there to be other players wanting to go, probably possibly leave. Personally, for me, Lucas Bergvall probably should stay and fight for his place. But the only way he's going to get a starting place is if proves to everybody that he is the player that's going to play. And just to want to leave just when there's a little bit of competition for his place makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It means a player very defeative attitude and is not prepared to play for his place and probably thinks that he has the God-given right to play whenever he feels like it. Now, when we look at the situations in the last couple of seasons since the boy signed, he is a young player, he is a youth, and there's a lot of potential in this boy's legs. But at the same time, we haven't seen anything to suggest that he is going to be the next best thing. There's a lot of clubs circling around him. There's a lot of players around him that believe that he could become very, very good. Barcelona were obviously initially interested before. Spurs ended up winning the race, getting him over the line, sending him back on loan to Djurgården. He comes in, and since Postecoglou he's come in, and he's been given an opportunity to play on the last couple of seasons. Now, that's all well and good, but doesn't mean that the actual player is going to be as good as what we think he's going to be. The potential is the ceiling is high. Possibly the player could be worth up to £100 million, but doesn't mean that he's actually going to get there. And right now, when you look at the 2 seasons that he's played in that first team squad, he hasn't done anything to suggest that he's going to go on and become a top player. Break it all down, basically, defensively, attacking wise, creativity. It's okay, but I cannot sit here as a Tottenham fan and turn around and say that Lucas Bergvall is a game changer. He hasn't changed any games under us. He hasn't scored any vital goals. He hasn't influenced the game enough to be able to sit there and demand to play the first, be on the first on the team sheet. Um, so why everybody's in the room, if you can like and subscribe my channel, please. Hit the notification bells, drop comments. I want to hear your comments. I'll reply to them as we're live. But yeah, the player is understandably a good talent, but at the same time, he is not the be all and end all. And if Spurs can get 45 to 50 million pound for this player, I would, and especially with the interested parties like Nottingham Forest apparently interested, I would be looking at Nottingham Forest and say, okay, look, Morgan Gibbs White, yeah, we wanted him last season. We're prepared to pay you 65 million for him. All right, we'll give you Lucas Bergvall and say 40 million pound, and let's do a deal. They get a player, we get the player that we want. When you put the XGs and the stats of Lucas Bergvall on the table, and then you put the stats and the XGs of the players that we're linked with on the table, he is no way, shape, or form in the same league. And 2 seasons down the line, he might become that player. He might do, but right now he is not. And there's a lot of cause Spurs fans are saying we don't need any more youth players. We need players that are ready to play now. And is he a player that's ready to play now? I know Morgan Gibbs White's ready to play now, and if we was to bring him in or Tonali was to bring him in, or Fernandez or someone like that, those kind of players, those kind of calibre of players, they would walk straight back into this first team squad and make a massive, massive impact. I, for one, as a Tottenham fan, are tired of waiting for potential to go on and succeed. Yeah, I want to see players ready to play now and ready to win now. And if Spurs want to get any aspirations to get back into the Champions League or in Europe, they've got to start signing players that actually will make a difference. Game changers, people that move the needle. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've got too many players in this squad that don't move the needle at all, and don't make enough impact. Papsar, Bergvall, Archie Gray. There's enough. Even I like Matthias Tell. I like him, but the end product is rubbish. He works hard, he gets around the pitch, he gets involved, he puts the tackles in. Yeah, he's always fit. Yeah, but when it comes to finishing his dinner, can't do it. And we cannot spend season after season after season spurning chances, wasting opportunities by buying youth players that are not clearly at the level, and then at the end of the season to say, well, I don't want to sell him, but then I don't want to get rid of him because he's good young prospect. But at the end of the season, another blank season. You know, Lucas Bergvall, for example, has done nothing in the Spurs shirt to prove that he is going to go on to be a top player, and he might well do. He might well do. So even if Nottingham Forest want to come in and buy him, I would be saying, right, 45, 50 million is yours, but there's a sell-on clause, 20% or something like that, because an option to buy back or something like that. But if he's really that desperate to play, but a player for me that is youth, he's 20 years old. He's only he came from Djurgården with a Norwegian league that's like third tier or something. He comes over, he gets into the squad, and then he believes that he has the God-given right to play every week more than, say, someone like Tonali. You know, it's just not going to happen. And if that's the patience of the player, same like with Vuskovic, if that's the player's mentality that I want it all now and I'm not prepared to work for it or prove myself, then why do we need such players in our squad? We don't need them because they're never going to be happy. They're never going to be satisfied. Yeah, and that is it. Moving on to the striker department, we need a new striker. We do. Yeah, and there's no point having players like Richarlison and Solanke sitting on the bench because they're going to get fed up because they're not going to want to play. They're going to want to play, and if there's players in front of them that are banging in the goals, then they've got to stand up and tell me, well, I didn't do it. Hi Mohammed, hi your Samper. Um, uh, these players are not going to do it, and they're not going to be the difference makers. Solanke can't hit a barn door, and I've watched this guy for 2-3 seasons, and he's rubbish. So Richarlison's a better finisher, but Richarlison scores goals, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough. He's not that player. He's not that level player. Yeah, Spurs are actively sorting out the midfield. They're sorting out the defence. They're doing it right. They're working from the back upwards. But we do need a striker that can score goals, and these two muppets can't score goals. You think about it, you had Son and Kane banging in goals left, right, and centre. Yeah, for fun. You've taken those two out of the picture, and you've replaced them with Solanke, Richarlison, and Tell. All three of them didn't even score 20 goals between the two. All three of them last season didn't score 20 goals between three players. Kane used to score 20 goals plus on his own, and Son used to score at least 15. I'm sure he won joint. I think Son's best outlay was like 23. I think in one season, and got a joint golden boot. So it just proves that the level of players that we need to go after those better players, those players that really fucking mean a difference. Because those players, like you've got the Lautaro Martinez. I know that I'm wishful thinking. I know it's thing, but if Spurs are going to spend big and they're going to go after the right players, they'll make a massive impact to this team and really turn us around and make us actually competitive and make us actually compete. Now, do I think Spurs are going to get back into the Champions League next season with their players? No, they probably won't. But at least get back into the Europa League. At least get back up into the top 8 of the league, and then in the summer go again. Upgrade again. But this time you don't need to go out and buy 8 or 9 players. You go out and buy 2 or 3 really, really quality players. Start signing that the top tier of players. One of the biggest things that's going to hold us back though is wages. Now this morning I saw us linked with Marcus Rashford. Yeah, we can afford the transfer fee, but are Spurs prepared to pay upwards of £300,000 a week for Marcus Rashford to come in and play? I don't know, but they definitely need to move the needle in terms of the wage bracket, because we are not paying enough for people. We're not paying enough money for wages to attract the elite, and that's what it's all about. It's attracting the elite players over the course of the summer. We've got a World Cup on. There's going to be a few shining stars. There's going to be a few decent players out there, but I'm liking to think that basically, if you are chasing players in the middle of the World Cup, you are always going to have a situation where you are going to play the premium rate. You're going to play the top dollar, because they're having a good World Cup, and whoever their team plays for, you might be a Swiss striker or something like that playing for an unknown team. They're going to want a lot more than what he's worth, because that's their opportunity. And everybody, and I'm a firm believer in life, you take your opportunities when they're given to you. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what you need to do. Yeah, there are opportunities to go out and get top draw players this summer. There really are. Whether or not Spurs take the handbrake off and actually start to do that is nothing. But we're seeing a lot of speculation. We're seeing a lot of talking. We're seeing a lot of this kind of promise. So I'm really hoping that we can actually bring in some of these top players. Yeah, and I've got no qualms in getting rid of the youth players if they are not at the level. There's no point keeping them just because they're youth players. It doesn't mean that it's worth keeping them. Just thought, fuck it, let's just keep these guys because they are the academy, they're the future. Well, not necessarily, because they might be shit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Bergwell's shit, by the way. I'm just turning around saying that at the moment, at this precise moment, in a Spurs shirt, I've not seen him deliver and go on to the level that we expect him to do. He's not influenced any games really where he demands that he could be starting. But if he stays at Spurs, there's going to be opportunities. There's going to be FA Cup games. There's going to be League Cup games. There's going to be rotational squad. There's going to be all these kind of things, all these different types of things. Every player's going to have to play a part. We've got 3 players in attacking 10 position. Yeah, that's without Mikey Moore in there, with Kulusevski, Madison, and Xavi. All 3 of them can't play at the same time, can they? And if Bergwall believes that he's not prepared to be a part of a squad and actually fight for his place and prove to everybody that he is the right player and he's good enough to play, then why do you want to keep him? Why do you want to keep that attitude? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's what I'm saying. And the same with Vuskovic, like, fight for your place. Hi Jay, how you doing? You all right? Like and subscribe my channel. Yeah, hit the notification bell. But yeah, like, if you're not going to be at the level, then it doesn't really matter, does it? Now, Matthias Tell is a good young French player, but at the end of the day, like, he's not really doing it on the pitch enough. There's a couple of things, like, there's a couple of bits and pieces. I do think there's a player in there, but at the moment he's not really excelling. But he needs to go on and prove himself. He needs to go on and actually really show what he's about. And if he can do that, then we stand every opportunity to really kind of go on and be successful as a football team. So yeah, that's it basically. Just a quick update, good chat about Bergwall and Vuskovic and Tell and people like that. These players that have been linked with moves away. It's not just about players being linked with us. It's players being linked away, and ultimately that brings money into the squad, brings money into the transfer pot, so we can use that money to be able to go out and buy other top players. Man City's model is that. Brighton's model is that. So is Brentford's. They basically buy players cheap, create them up, sell them on, and bring in better. And that's what they do. And that's how they've been able to become competitive over the seasons. Man City actually don't really spend massive amounts of money on players anymore. You know what I mean? Pep Guardiola towards the end maybe might spend 150 million in the summer. But for a team like Man City that's got super deep pockets, not really the way. That's not their thing. So they're not really doing it. So yeah, it is what it is, and it's what will be. But listen, Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share it with your friends, watch my updates. If you hit the notification bell, you'll know when I'm going live again with more news, more views, more clues, more information about Tottenham Hotspur, and more fan news. And I'll bring it to you as quick as I get it. So take it easy, stay safe, come on you Spurs. Bye bye.